Hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and you are very welcome to this seasonal video. Today we're going to talk about cyclamen. Now cyclamen are an amazing plant to buy at this time of year. They make a fantastic display. They keep on flowering for the longest time and do so with the minimal of care. So we're going to talk about the different types of cyclamen, the hardy ones that you put in your garden outdoors, and the ones that we grow so lovingly in our houses and greenhouses at this time of year. So let's get on with the video. You are all very welcome to this video about cyclamen, and big thanks to Rocky Cat for the initial suggestion. So before we talk about care of cyclamen, what we really need to establish is what kind of cyclamen you have. And if you bought or were gifted your cyclamen in winter in full flower, then you have a florist cyclamen. And these are wonderful, wonderful flowers that are sold chiefly for their beautiful blooms in winter. And they're in a range of colours from white to crimson to magenta. There's purple in there as well, and bicoloured ones. Florist cyclamen make a very handsome pot plant that can be cared for in a house or in a greenhouse with a minimum of fuss. And indeed, they're the usual introduction most of us have to cyclamen. Florist cyclamen are bred from the species persicum, Cyclamen persicum. And that hails from places such as the Greek islands of Rhodes and Crete, and also from Cyprus. So as you can imagine, this plant is not going to be hardy in the ground in the Western Hemisphere. Cyclamen persicum has been bred for over 150 years to produce cultivars or hybrids which have larger flowers, which have more beautiful, more marbled leaves, bigger plants, to have flat petals, to have a variety of desirable attributes that we'd want in a pot plant, and more recently for the reintroduction of scent. They make really good pot plants either in a cool room in the house, a frost-free greenhouse, or in a sheltered position in a pot or planter on your porch. Right, so how are you going to choose which cyclamen you need for your particular aspect? And now we're looking at a selection of cyclamen in my local garden centre, and as you can see, there is a wonderful range of colours out there. So I guess the first thing you're going to choose is the colour that you like, or the colour that's going to blend well with the room that you'll have the plant in. Perhaps you'll choose crimson flowers to go in with the whole Christmas theme. But don't forget also to look at the leaves, because cyclamen have the most fabulously patterned leaves. And there is great variation out there, so have a good look around, not just being blinded by the colours of the flowers, also minutely examining what's on offer in terms of leaf patterning. Personally, I always look out for anything quirky, like this particular white flower that has a break in it, streaks of pink, and I would go for that. And there are large leafed and large flowered varieties as well. Now these aren't to my personal taste, but perhaps you like them. In that case, you should buy them. So you've chosen your cyclamen and you've got it home, and now you want to care for it optimally. And the first thing you have to consider is temperature. If your house is 20 degrees centigrade during the day and 10 degrees centigrade minimum at night, your cyclamen is going to die a very slow and painful death. What these plants really like is about 13 degrees centigrade during the day and somewhere between 6 and 15 degrees centigrade at night. Likewise, if you have them in a greenhouse which goes below 6 degrees at night, your plant is going to fade rapidly. The next thing you need to get right is watering. So cyclamen should be watered when they dry out. So watch out for that. And as for fertilizer, these plants don't like too much feed. If they get too much feed, they won't flower for you. So I would say fertilize once every 2 months with a half strength, well balanced, soluble fertilizer. And light is important too. So keep them in a position where they don't have direct sunlight. Have a nice dappled, filtered light, and they should go on to do really well for you. Now, if you have them in a house and you want the cyclamen as a display on a table, for example, during your festivities, during your meals, then by all means move the cyclamen to that position in the centre of the table when you want it, but don't forget to move them back to the windowsill afterwards, otherwise the plants will start going downhill rapidly. And the other thing with cyclamen is that they go dormant in summer. Now what this means effectively is around about April your plant will start to lose its flowers and leaves until it has nothing left, and you just basically have a tuber sitting proud of the soil. The problem that many people have is that when they see that the plant's leaves are dying off, they think, oh, I haven't been watering enough, and they water it more. And this, of course, means that you're going to rot your plant. Cyclamen must only be watered when they dried out. And it's perfectly normal and desirable for them to go dormant. So when you see that your plant is starting to lose leaves, water less until the point in time when all the leaves are gone, and then don't water at all. So keep your potted cyclamen without any leaves in a cool, darkish place for the summer. And then, well, I'm just going to show you a little clip now about getting them back into active growth again in time for next Christmas. And now we're into December, and you can see how my small cyclamen collection is beginning to shape up. So this one here is more advanced, lots and lots of leaves, and we can even see that the flowers are beginning to form. This one over here is less advanced, but we see a lot of leaves, and if we look in here in the center, you can also see that the flowers are coming. They're just not as tall yet as the one we just looked at. And then finally this little one here is the least advanced of the three, and it seems a little bit dehydrated. Going to give it a bit of water now. We can see it's pushing up a few buds in there on top of the corm, and I'm not sure if we can actually see the corm now at this stage. I think not. I think it's well covered with leaves, but I'm going to give that a little bit of water. And I guess the care really at this stage is to make sure the plants are watered, as they're in active growth, so they need the water, and to just remove dead leaves. So we can see here that there are some leaves that didn't quite make it, whether the plant had insufficient water for them when they first pushed off, or maybe the sun scorched them or something, I'm not sure. So just remove those to generally improve the overall look of the plant. And now I've moved the cyclamen onto the greenhouse staging, and we can see it in position just exactly here. You can see the 3 pots. And what I've done is just place them in larger clay pots. Actually, these are orchid pots. Terrible waste, but they're not in use at the moment. And I've just placed the plastic containers into the clay pot just for display purposes. And you can see that the pots of cyclamen weren't quite tall enough to reach the edge of the clay pot, so I've just put some broken crocks down the base there just to prop them up a little bit. Now this one is the one that's about to flower. I've watered them since you've seen them last, but this one hasn't yet had the chance to plump up, but I know it's coming. And there's the 3rd one there at the back. It's the 12th of December today, and you can see that I have the first flower here on my greenhouse cyclamen. And finally, cyclamen can be and should be repotted every 2 years. Now you can do this when the plant is dormant in summer. Just make sure that some of the tuber sits proud of the earth, and use any good compost that's reasonably well drained. And that's it for florist cyclamen really, except enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. These plants are cheap to buy and easy to find in the Northern Hemisphere anyway at this time of year, and it's lovely to have something that just brings a bit of greenery and life into your house when you're in the middle of your festivities. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the hardy cyclamens, and these are ones that you can grow outdoors in your garden. And there are two main types. There's Cyclamen coum, which flowers from winter to spring, and there's Cyclamen hederifolium, which flowers from late summer to winter. Now, Cyclamen hederifolium is the most vigorous of the two, so if you're looking for something that's going to give you minimal fuss, then may I suggest that you have a look for that. You can find tubers for sale in autumn in good garden centres, and they're sold dry, so not potted. It's just the loose tubers that you can find. And this might seem strange to the non-gardeners among you, but these plants, these tubers, will very soon spring into life once you put them in the ground. Look out for firm tubers and be astonished really at the size of some of these things. Now, the ones you're seeing in the picture here, they aren't particularly big, but they can be enormous, and so strange to have an enormous tuber that's going to produce a very diminutive little plant. Now, these tubers can be planted any time from autumn to spring, except if the ground is completely frozen, then you're not going to put them in. And what you might want to do is start them off first in a pot in a cold greenhouse, and then once the roots get established and start growing, transfer them into the ground. You can plant them in any shady position, under trees, on shady banks, in shady borders, and just so long as the soil is relatively well drained and it's a good fertile garden soil. Plant your tubers 3 to 5 centimeters deep. Now, if you plant them too deeply, it may be that your cyclamen won't flower for a while until they actually have moved themselves more towards the surface of the soil. But it's a plant that naturalizes easily, seeds about, and that once you have it established in your garden, you're going to have it for a very, very long time. Okay, so I guess that brings me to the end of this video about cyclamen, which I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you might feel encouraged to try some florist cyclamen this season if you haven't done so already. And if perhaps you have some of these plants already and were wondering how to care for them, then the information should be in this video to do so. And just remember, in summer, when your leaves have died off, as long as the tuber of the cyclamen is still hard, it's still alive, so you don't have to worry, just wait, and as the season picks up, it'll start into growth again. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video on cyclamen, and please do check back soon for lots more gardening stuff here on Gardening at Douentza. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, may I encourage you to do so. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.